I remember when a doctor asked that question to us.
Okay.
But as parents, it doesn't change anything. She's still our child and we still love her. I feel that I could break her. We are all special in different ways. We all have special gifts, special talents. My daughter is not a special need child. She's just a special child in a positive way.
Today we'll want to be talking about a topic that is very pressing, an issue, a subject matter that affects a lot of persons. Is a very sensitive subject that we want us to pay rapt attention to and see how we can navigate through it and manage the situation as it concerns us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Annette Moss, and my paddy here is
Donald.
Yes, Donald.
And welcome once again to this episode. Yeah, we have a guest today, and we're talking about the lived experience of a mother of an autistic child. It's a deep topic, and we'll be diving into it together. And with us here is Mrs. Annette Moss. And Annette, you're welcome.
You're very much welcome
to the Good Marriage Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
How have you been?
Good.
Great.
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah, I can see it from your smile. Welcome once again.
Thank you so much.
We want to be talking about autism. Autism is a developmental condition. It's a brain disorder. The brain kind of develops and works differently from the way other person's brain works. This condition is known as autism spectrum condition, disorder, if you like. It happens to some persons. Some persons say it's an illness, it's a disease, but I can assure you it's not a communicable disease, neither is it non-communicable. I know it affects speech.
Yeah.
I also know that it affects the way the person interacts socially with people.
Mm-hmm.
But Ma, if I may ask, in your own words,
yeah,
how would you define autism?
Autism, it's a brain disorder, as you said, and also I learned that it doesn't come because you gave birth to a preemie child. You find that even a kid can go full term. And it's something you notice after a kid is almost even 1 year and more when they don't catch up like other kids do. They don't socialize, eye contact, speech delay. And also, it's not just in kids. In general, every person has an autistic something.
Oh, really?
Because
an autistic trait in everybody.
Yes, it's there because we do a lot of things. You find that also you're restless. At times you can't even focus for a long time. At times, so we have traits, but it's because it's always mild. It has big spectrum, and some people have mild spectrum. So it varies from person to person.
I think my own, if I may use the word autistic, my own autistic trait would be that I like to eat a lot.
That's a disorder.
Yeah. So for my daughter, we noticed, of course, we didn't know at the beginning that she was autistic. So it's a diagnosis which it came out, I think, when she was 3-4 years. It's when they told us, according, because yearly we take her for assessment and they test her IQ, how she does things, focus, writing, motoric skills, interaction, eye contact. So they do a lot of things. So around 4, 5, it's when they said, okay, now she doesn't only have slow development, but she's also autistic.
So you started observing when she was 4?
They're not at the hospital?
No, at the hospital, because from that time of birth, Milan has been having therapies.
When was that? How old was she then?
She was, I think, around 4.
4.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on. Let me cut you here.
Yeah.
Earlier, when we were chatting, you mentioned that it was around this time of the month. Was it when she was 4 that this time of the month?
No, this time of the month is when I started to have complications with my first pregnancy.
Okay, now, Annette, let us start from the beginning with the pregnancy.
Okay.
Yeah, let us start from there.
Like any other mother, first pregnancy, you're excited. And we always have it that conceive, go all the way. It's a must. You have to give birth to a healthy child, health pregnancy, health process. Yeah. So I had my checkups weekly, no, once in a month. Then also you see the doctor. So it was okay. But later I started to feel pressure around my lower abdomen. I'm swimming in deep waters. You're a new mother, so you don't know what to expect. It's like having a job test. At the same time, it's the job. So you're being tested, but you have to work at the same time. So you're there. So time went on. It started on a weekend, and I'm like, Papa, I feel pressure. So when I'm walking...
Papa is your husband?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah, it's my husband.
Okay.
So I told him, I feel a bit of push. And he was like, I think it's okay. Maybe it's nothing. Because we had just had a check that week and everything was okay.
How many months was your pregnancy then?
I was still in my first trimester.
And you were feeling pushes?
Yes.
Wow.
So we decided to call in and we went in to the hospital in Porovo because we first stayed in Helsinki, Sipho, before we moved this way.
Okay, all of these things
were in Helsinki.
In Finland, Helsinki.
Yeah, okay. In Finland, Helsinki. So we went in and they started to say they couldn't see the baby. They were seeing the shadow. So they checked and checked until they had to send me to the main hospital, Helsinki. So I went there and they checked us and they said, we can't see the baby. We are seeing a shadow instead of the baby. So something is covering the baby. Yeah. So they told me, okay, go home and we can do a follow-up. Then I went home and they told me, come back another week. I went back. Then they started to check and they said, we think your cervix has opened and you've started to lose the fluid which holds the baby. And those are, I'm still in my first weeks of pregnancy. I haven't
First trimester.
First trimester. So they told me, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And the cervix normally doesn't open onto the ninth month.
No, it's not supposed to shorten. It only have to shorten when you're almost due.
Wow.
But mine now, here it's starting to open and the liquid is coming out, which liquid is supposed to keep her.
Yeah.
And it was happening, but for me, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought that is the normal thing, maybe. Yeah. So then I stopped going to the municipal hospital check. Then I started to go to Helsinki. And I was told, now we want you to be home for a bed rest. Mind you, I'd already applied for the language course. You know these things. I need to start school.
Integration.
Yeah, integration. It came and they asked me, are you working? Are you doing anything? I'm like, I'm supposed to do school. They said, we don't think you're going to do school. So you're going to be home. So you're not still bed rest at home. At that time, I didn't have any other child. But still, you move here, do housework, walk around. You're like, bed rest, I can still do light. Then I went back around this time of the month. I remember Easter got me in the hospital already. I was retained there.
Retained.
Is that what to say? I was
That's
retained there. They told me, you're not going home. So I thought just for that day.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought, okay, maybe I'll be here. I chilled for 2 days. Then I can go home maybe tomorrow. They told me, So I asked actually, so when am I going home? And yeah, the doctor said, home? I said, yeah, home. Said, no, you're not going home. So if I say return, I was retained. So Misha came, my husband. He said, so when I come, I said, I'm not going home. So I asked, so am I going to be here like a week? Because due date was supposed to be 29th of August.
Okay.
So here, someone wants to come early. And we were asking her, Madam, what are you going to do in this world this early?
Yeah.
Can you hang in there for some time? So they told me, you're not going home. You're going to be here until the child is born. Yeah.
Okay, let's get this clear. This was still your first trimester.
What?
Yeah, first trimester.
And if due date was going to be in August, that means your first trimester, this could be around December, January, February. This whole hospital visit, retainment.
So it started in January. Yeah, I got to know December.
Yeah.
So January, then we started checkups and everything was still okay. So towards my transition into my second trimester, but here, everything now is happening this early.
Around February period.
Yeah, February. Yeah,
So within the first 3 months.
Yeah, so March, around this time of the year, around this time of the month, I was retained, and they said you're going to be now in the hospital until the baby is. They said
That's detention.
you're okay, but we need to make sure this person is okay. And also, they wanted to know why was it happening.
Yeah. Why the shadow? Or
why the shadow? And they said we think it's fibroids, but we don't think it can be this bad. To make the baby want to come this early, because people can have them and they still carry on, but it's different.
But did you have fibroid?
Yeah, later. Okay. So I stayed there, and not just staying in the hospital, but my legs had to be up. So they had to make my bed slant.
Yeah.
So that I'm raised up. I couldn't allow to be sitting.
Sorry, Annette Moss.
Yeah.
I'm trying to proceed.
Yeah.
Please go on. Continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, your legs were off. Yeah.
So they told me I can't sit. The only position I had to even feed was when I'm in a slanting position. Wow. Because, they said if I'm to sit, he can come out. I remember a doctor said, every day we take is a miracle. So he said, you can, whichever thing you believe in.
Yeah, that's work for you. Wow.
Yeah, because they told me each day we take, it's a miracle.
A miracle for you or for the baby or both?
For the baby.
For the baby.
Of course, even me now, they were giving me different medications into the muscles to grow the baby, blood clots, shots, because I wasn't moving. So I was there. Days passed, Easter came, I was in the hospital, you don't move, and they did tests here, tests there. And they told me at least from 24 weeks upwards, we can save. Below that?
Can't guarantee.
Not even guarantee, no.
No?
Wow.
Yeah. So I asked, so when can you...
Sorry, 24 months or 24 weeks? They can take out the baby, or
in case comes out around those weeks.
Okay.
They can save.
They were able to manage to save the baby.
Yeah, it's possible for them, but below
24 weeks.
Nothing.
No, nothing can.
Yeah.
Nothing completely.
Nothing.
Okay.
And they told me also if it's an infection, so they had even to do infection test on me. So they did it. And this is something even they do when you're pregnant. They just get a long needle with the help of the machines. Because I told them, so won't you prick my child? Because I'm this ballooned and you're doing a test from straight. and live, no nothing, no sleeping.
Wow.
So they had to do it. And they said, yeah, it's safe. We have the machines and we know where to prick. So they had also to do the test. All I could say, God, help me. So they checked that I didn't have an infection. So meanwhile, they did a stitch for me to shorten the cervix.
Okay, they had to stitch you up.
Yeah, so that it can close and the baby doesn't come out. But I didn't have much liquid now keeping her in, which also has a risk for infection for the child inside there. So we moved on. I'm on my bed every day. Even I admired an insect on the floor because it had freedom. I didn't have freedom. Even the birds, yeah, you could hear them making some noise and you're like, I wish I had that freedom, but I didn't have it.
Summer is there.
If I may ask, you couldn't move, you were not allowed to leave the bed, not even to go to the restroom.
Not even to sit as I'm sitting like this. I had to just be
lying down.
So how do you
everything
take
there.
at ease?
Everything.
They help you out.
The nurse comes and helps you out.
Oh my God.
Everything there. Food there. And food you eat, okay, the only position you could do, turn on your side, back, but still elevated. Yeah. And I get my shots for blood clot on my stomach. Then hydrocortisone in my muscles to speed up the growth of the baby. Yeah, of the baby. So even the doctors were like, let us push for as long as we could take.
To go beyond 24 weeks.
So as a mom, time comes and you don't worry about yourself.
What about
I think I became immune to the pain for my body. All I wanted now was my daughter to be alive, to be safe. So mentally it's draining, physically, emotionally, but all I could do was pray. And I speak to her every day. We always make a joke that Milana wanted to be where the action is. So, yeah, so I stayed there day by day. And they told me that there is also a risk because her leg was already popping out.
Wow.
Yeah. So one of the legs were already almost out. So they were like, in case also water broke, she may come out with it.
Even without you pushing?
Yeah. And they said in case I start getting early labor pains, I need also they need to manage them that they don't make her come out.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just there every day. It became, I think, my normal life there.
At the hospital?
Yeah. So Misha would come check on me, go home, come check on me, go home. The mom would also come, the sister, like that. So that was my life. And I was still new in Finland. So I didn't have friends, so many friends at that time. Then one friend moved and they could come and check on, but at that time I was just, new in the country, you're trying to figure out things and yeah. But in all, I stayed strong until this one night because they had checked everything. They knew the fibroids now were there, but they couldn't bring them out. So Milana was behind the fibroid and it wasn't one or two, they were many. So they were covering her. So always in the ultrasound to find her, they had to do a lot of moving and a lot of work. And somehow they could find her. So like that. So this one night, I felt wet. I'm like, what has happened? Then I called the nurse and the nurse said, the waters broke. So they had to rush me. Actually, my room was next to the theater room.
Just in case.
I was on the top list of people who are supposed to go emergency room. Yeah, so they came, the doctor had to come in the morning and they checked. They rushed me to the emergency room. I stayed there for a night. And due to lack of movement, I could get chest pain. Remember, I can't do anything. So they gave me like magnesium and they said you can just be stretching your back. And so that day went 23 weeks. We are moving. I'm just praying every day. I called my family back home, my sisters and everything. At least in life, I know prayer for me, it doesn't fail. So it kept me going every day. So 23 weeks, evening, afternoon time, around 3, I remember, they started to check for the heartbeat.
Okay.
So now imagine I checked in around this time. I'm still in the hospital. March, April, I'm there. Nothing more. No home, no what, no walking. I had actually a toilet in my room. Just few steps, but I couldn't go there. Yeah, I couldn't go there. So that's when you start to value life. That you're able even to move. You're able to do things for yourself, you know. So they started to check for the heartbeat.
And in your case, you were able to do those things, but because of the life that was inside of you,
Yeah.
that you were supposed to preserve,
Yeah.
you couldn't do anything for your own self.
No, actually, I remember a doctor told me, for you, you're okay.
Yeah.
But we want to save the life
of
inside. We want that baby. For you, you're fine, but we want what is inside of you now to be fine.
To be safe.
To be safe. And not only that, but also they make sure that you're also safe at the same time. So that day they checked. It was the longest day of my life. They were checking. You're not moving, so the body starts to ache, you know, everywhere. So it's the nurse who came first. They checked. Yeah, we can't find the heartbeat. I'm on my back. No heartbeat. And I'm like, and I asked them, so for how long what is good? I mean, what is long enough for you to know that, okay,
all is well, all is well. Not.
They said at least if we can get her heartbeat for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because every time they tried, she moved away. I was there. So they checked me for heartbeat from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m.
24 hours.
Yeah. So they had
12 hours.
So they had to take me now to the emergency room. So I stayed there the entire night, and they kept asking me, do you feel labor pains? No, here, you're swimming in deep waters. You don't know labor pains. How do they feel? How do they look? Is that person? I told them, okay, I feel something hard here. Then again, I feel something hard here. And the nurse said, okay, now those are labor pains. Of course, later they had to put on the machines to detect. They said yes. Then somehow pain is funny and sleep. Still somehow I fell asleep, but pain woke me up. Pain woke me up, and to wake up, now it was this nurse again starting to look for the heartbeat. So doctors came in a bit early that day, So in the night, we ended up having 24 weeks. Of course, you're still hoping to push. So in the process, in the morning, I was there, I was tired. I think I can't say I was giving up on life. I just wanted to keep pushing all the time.
Yeah.
Going. Yeah. So somehow the pain intensified. And I saw the doctors coming in, like, then they were checking. Then somehow I saw the blood on the hand. So I'm like, am I bleeding? I said, no, everything is okay. It's okay. Then later they said we are losing the heartbeat. Yeah. So when they said everyone panicked, I remember that day I just said the Lord's Prayer. And I said, God, if you're bringing my daughter today, make her live. You have to look after her. You have to make sure everything is okay.
Sorry. Prior to this time, they had done 12 hours, 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. search for the heartbeats. Did they find it that time?
No.
They did not. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
So they kept on and monitoring. Of course, now I have machines and everything. Then they said, we are losing her heartbeat. All I did that day, I said on with the Lord's Prayer. And I called Misha, my husband. So
That's Papa.
yeah, Papa. So I called him. I said, it's go time. So they rushed me in. They did everything so fast. Then I remember seeing a team of nurses, doctors, everyone had lined up. And even they had prepared a silver kind of bag for her with light and everything. So I went in there and this doctor was talking, but his main thing was he was trying to keep me awake because I was mentally tired, physically exhausted, emotionally drained. So I went in there, they did everything, and they said, he can even ask you things about some, what do you like about this? As in to just keep you conversation. Yeah. And they said, don't worry, we are going to have her out within a few seconds and she's going to be okay and everything. I was like, okay. So they started to do what they do. Before I knew it, of course, within 5 minutes, she was out. And our group of nurses was already there, doctors, everyone in charge. So by the time Misha came, they had already taken her to the ICU. So we stayed there. Actually, I stayed longer in the theater. So Misha ran in. But by the time he came, she was already in the ICU. And she was weighing 595 grams.
Grams.
Yeah.
That's 0.59, in fact, half kilo, or almost 0.6 kilo.
Actually, when someone tells you preemie kids are tiny, you don't know. And even when I take for you a picture and you're like, she's a big baby. Oh yeah. But when you get to see, you're like,
Let me break this down for someone who's not conversant with masses. A bottle of juice is like 1 kilo. A bottle of juice, one liter of your juice pack is equivalent to 1 kilo. But this child came out as a premature, weighing half of that. So that's what the meaning. So please go ahead.
And the length, she was 29 and a half.
29 and a half.
And that's when you had stretched her.
Okay, the length.
29
The
and a
height.
half.
Yeah, and that's when
29 and a half.
That's almost 30
something like
centimeters.
this.
Wow.
And that's when you had stretched her up, tried to stretch her up. Yeah.
Okay.
So she was 29 and a half. So the journey started from there again. Then I came out of the theater and in the recovery room, and they were telling me, congratulations, Celia. I think that I went to see her for the first day and they called me, do you want to pause?
That's how many hours? So I mean,
Because I entered the theater, I think at around 9 to 10.
okay.
Then I think I was able...
PM or AM?
AM.
AM, I think.
Yeah. So I entered and I was able to see her late in the evening.
Okay.
I have a feeling even maybe the next day. Late in the evening, later in the day, I was able to be wheeled in to see her. And this nurse was like, do you want to carry her? I said, no. He said, no, you can't break her. I said, no. Then after that, they wheeled me back to the room.
Do you remember why you didn't want to carry her?
I felt that I could break her.
Oh.
Because she had so many wires on her, so many tubes. So, so you're like, and they are fragile. Yeah. So anything you do.
How many months before they brought her out?
She came out making it 24 weeks.
That's
exactly 24 weeks.
Yeah, plus 1 day. So those are like
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months.
6 months.
Yes.
When everything is just almost starting to pop out to deserve it. Yeah, so I went home. Then the second day I had to go. But after that, I just stayed home for some few days. because I had also to take blood clot shots also for 10 days. And I need also to take medication for infection because at that time I couldn't take that medication also because I was expecting. Yeah, so I stayed home for some few days. So the dad would go from work, he goes from work. So we were in the ICU, reports were not good. You could have bad reports every day. You have a child and they tell you she has brain damage. She has pulmonary hypertension, which means that one side of the heart works too much, which can lead to heart failure. So, which was also a big factor for her breathing, and brain damage due to a lot of brain. She bled so much in the brain, which also affected, and which comes with reports like cerebral palsy.
Because she bled in.
Yeah, because it affects the biggest part of the brain of her brain, and you don't know how your kid is gonna turn out. Some end up not even walking, doing anything. Yeah, paralysis, so they can just be there and do. Some, they may not survive, yeah. So we had bad reports after bad reports every day. Then after a few days, I'm done with the medication, then I started to sleep there. But yeah, everything you do, it's on her terms. Yeah. They get tired so fast. Anything can change in a minute. In the ICU, you don't even enter with your shoes. Not even fumes on your clothes.
No perfumes?
No.
Because avoid infection.
Infection and anything they can inhale.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we stayed there. Time went on. So, and also statistically, those who are born that early, about half won't make it through the first weeks. And out of those that make it will normally face lots of issues, as I've mentioned. Yeah. But one thing they told us that her skin was good because most preemie kids, the skins do break. And they say that for her, since she's a mixed child, her skin was really strong and nice and small.
Okay, because her father is white and the mom is black, so she has a mixed skin.
Yeah. But most of the times, if it's same, then the skin is so transparent, it's so delicate. And when it breaks, it gets infection and all that. Yeah, so we started also to do what they call kangaroo.
Explain.
Kangaroo method, it's when you start to have body to body with your child.
Bonding.
Which helps the baby to get connection, which the connection she was supposed to get when she was inside of you. So now you're doing it body to body. Of course, even that one, you start with few minutes.
That's after many weeks.
I think we started body to body, I can say after a month, maybe.
After a month?
Yeah,
like
before
after 4
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah. She had to stabilize because we had those moments when Milana was almost going, as in we had moments when alarms go on and before you know it, in a few minutes, her room is full with doctors and nurses everywhere. So it was so hectic, mentally, physically consuming.
I want to recall something. There's something you mentioned when we chatted about this. They use the red ink. So, I mean, could you explain that? The rule that out is the red ink or something?
Yeah. It's called don't resuscitate.
Don't resuscitate.
Yeah, which means in the medical world that in case of heart failure or something, in case of an emergency, they don't do any first aid on your child. They just let that child to go, because that means if they try to do any first aid, it means the kid can be on the life support
for long,
forever. So
when you say to go,
to die. So we had that in her
So it's either she
documents.
dies or she remains in life support if that case happens.
No, now they put that one that it means it's beyond, even though they try to revive, it will not make sense to just have on the life support and you can't take off. Yeah. So we had that that statement that in case she gets another attack, and that one now also, it stayed there until it was time when she was off machines also. So they said in case of any emergency,
Okay.
they may not do.
During the period when she was being supported by machines, they had that red mark.
From the time we gave birth to her, I think as time went on, the case, as I said, we didn't have any positive news for her all the time. But she was feeding. They feed them through machines. Then her first time to have a bath was almost we were heading to summertime.
Wow.
But also that you have a nurse, she has, the first time I saw my baby's face and I heard her cry, it's when they had taken off the ventilation. That's when I heard her voice for the very first time. And their months had moved.
Wow.
None of these things that, the baby's crying.
Okay.
We didn't have such experience for her. So that was the first time when they had taken off the ventilation. She had moments when her oxygen level would go down and she turns blue because of the slime, since her lungs were underdeveloped. So we had so many days when the machines do. One time I had her in kangaroo, then she went blue.
When you had her,
we used to carry her.
Were there those tubes and all of that?
Everything, we had to do it under instruction and observation by the nurse. So everything was depending on how she was feeling, because everything makes them tired so fast. So you need to know when to stop. Yeah.
Everything makes them, that means the baby.
The baby, the preemies. Yeah, so you do everything, you start in small doses. So like that. Then when she made 1 kg, in Finnish, it's called kilokapu. Yeah, so we reached when they had organized for her a cake and what. It's a big thing for them also to see them progressing that much. So they were all happy. Milana has made 1 kilo kaku cakes. Say had that cake that day. We ate it. Of course, we went in another room. So because you can't carry her, so we left her there. And he had my husband friend, the grandma, then my husband and some friend of mine. So we had to have the cake.
To celebrate 1 kg.
1 kg. It's a big thing. Yeah.
When you carried her for the first time to your chest, can you tell us how you felt?
The fear which I had.
Felt, the feeling, what the fear?
The fear went away and it was so calming, as in she just put her head on me and her sweet fingers on me. It was something one can't explain, because as a mother, when you give birth, you always carry the first time your child on your chest, which I didn't experience.
That's exactly what I asked.
Actually, after that now, I wasn't scared of carrying her. So I could carry her and I have her on my chest. Of course, they get all the tapings, all the wires, and they tape them on your body.
Okay.
On your body. Yeah, so that they don't move. Because if anything comes out, just know they are fragile.
Yeah.
Something fragile, you're like, it's so fragile, even anything of it, a piece to go off it, it can affect her differently.
So when you want to carry her, they put all those wires also on your body?
Actually, you sit on the chair.
Yeah.
They lean it behind. They have those chairs. Then they bring, you just position yourself. Put yourself there. They do that, the rest. They bring, put her there, covered. then you stay there. And they keep monitoring you. And they ask, in case she starts to feel a certain way, they take her in. More so, the breathing was really an issue for her.
So that day that you were having body to body and she turned blue, what happened? How did you react?
Breathing, her breathing dropped.
Yeah.
Of course, as a mother, everyone came. I remember that day I just looked through the window and I held my stomach. I said, God, at least I'd rather have this scar on my body and I know my child is living than having it. And I'm like, I don't see anything. Yeah. So they managed to help her out. And when that always happened, that means she would just sleep for the rest of the day, just feeding. And she was strong at times, even she can be in her bed, but moving her head like this. They have those hands they put on them to make them, because they are tiny but strong. Yeah, tiny but strong. So, yeah.
So how long did it take?
We stayed in ICU from May 10th. Then we left in June when summer had started.
And all those while, you never knew that, both of you never knew that she's autistic.
No. Autism, it's something which they diagnose later.
Okay.
When a kid has grown and the parent, is not catching up as others do in terms of speech, interaction.
How did you feel when you noticed that she's autistic?
I remember when a doctor asked that question to us.
Okay.
But as parents, it doesn't change anything. She's still our child and we still love her. And they used special words. They say these are special needs children. But for me, I think it's used kind of in a negative way because we are all special in different ways. We all have special gifts, special talents, so we are all special. So I see it for me that my daughter is not a special need child. She's just a special child in a positive way. So for us, it didn't change anything. And as a woman of faith, even I told Donald, even when it didn't make sense for me, I always knew Milana's reports will change.